dice of today is not the dice that you knew in the past, and we're really excited about what's going on. We also want to go over some tech hiring trends and some insights based on surveys that we've done, and really some of the thought leadership that we would like to share based on our findings. So within that portion of today's call, we'll talk about the state of the U.S. tech hiring market, how COVID has shifted mindsets and trends that we're seeing in the technology space, and then also some of the attitudes that we're seeing from technologists around remote working. We'll also do a quick demo. My colleague Sue will explain and show some of the really exciting things we have going on here at DICE with a quick demo. For those of you who don't know DICE, DICE is #1 tech career marketplace in the industry. And I want to preface the word marketplace because that is really the direction that we're heading, and we'll tell you more about what that means in a couple slides. But one of the key differentiators between us and some of our main competitors is that we are tech specialists, and that's all we do. Our candidates are unique and qualified, and we've spent a lot of time and money and energy to really focus on the qualified aspect of this sentence here. And then the other thing that's really exciting is that we're always growing. So right now we have over 9 million tech profiles on the marketplace. Of those 9 million, 2.7 million and more are open to new opportunities. We're getting over 1.5 million uniques each month, and we have over 150,000 candidates that are active as of right now. So let's dig into some of the insights that we've seen. And, as we all know, it's been a pretty bouncy year for everybody. And so, I think there is some silver lining in this, in the fact that everyone on this call probably is focused at least some degree on the IT staffing industry and the IT space. And so, as compared to some of the other boards that we compete against and other platforms, we've all felt a bit of a dip in terms of demand and in terms of people's wanting to purchase, new job boards or new resources to find candidates, but it's been somewhat insulated because we are in the tech space. And so the demand for technologists has dipped a little bit, but nowhere near other verticals and other industries, that are out there. According to an SIA IT staffing forecast that we listened to in September, they're expecting to see a dip of 9% in 2020 in the IT staffing industry, but which is lower than a lot of the other verticals that they measured. But the exciting part is, and you'll see it in this slide, and I'm sure you've heard this in the past, but 2021 really looks to rebound strong, and they're looking to have the IT staffing industry improve by 7%. So we have a tech jobs report that we release quarterly. So I believe in the chat for this call, there's a link to it. If you can't find it there, then you can go to dice.com and go to the For Employers section, and there's an employer resource library there that'll have our detailed Q3 tech job report, which is really exciting, along with a lot of other great research material and thought leadership that we're releasing consistently throughout the year. In terms of hiring trends that we're seeing, so if you look at this graph here, this is representing 2019 into 2020, and so the year ended strong and continued to be strong in terms of total job postings by month, and really kind of flattened out around the end of Q1. With a number of about 400,000 job postings per month. Now, to no one's surprise, based on what happened in the middle of March with COVID, Q2 and Q3 saw steady declines. But the exciting part about this graph is that we're starting to see some some rebounding, and some stabilization taking place right now. And then this is, further detailed by this weekly data, and it shows that the continuation of the stability of jobs as we head into Q3. In terms of the engagement that we've seen on our site, it mirrors very nicely with what's going on in the market in general. And so those slides that we had before were not just based on our data, but we also have a partnership with Burning Glass, whereas we use their data as well, to try to come up with our thought leadership. So, but what we're seeing on our site is really exciting in terms of the Q3 numbers and the year-over-year increases in all kinds of activity and engagement that we track. So uptick in visible profiles, 15% year over year for Q3, over 114% year over year applications, and then 112% year over year engagement with content. And then September alone, you can see how some of the numbers here are trending as well. So we're really excited to see, this stabilization, if you will, and growth as we head into Q4 and head into Q1. In regard to recent unemployment and hiring trends overall, once again, probably not a surprise to everybody, but we saw a huge spike in overall unemployment in Q2, and this mirrors the pandemic. And this is for all jobs, and is trending downward, with maybe some small spikes coming up and down, over these last couple weeks. But in terms of the tech unemployment rate, it stayed relatively low. Like I was saying before, we are insulated to a degree because of this industry and because of how hard these skill sets are to find. And so it's remains relatively low compared to the overall U.S. unemployment, and continues to stabilize and go down, which is great news for all of us. But that does pose a challenge, I'm sure, for everyone on this call who's doing recruiting, in terms of finding candidates for the right roles. So we're really excited to show you, especially during the demo, how we can help you do that quicker and faster. In terms of how COVID-19 has shifted mindsets, so there's a couple of key areas that we've seen, and things we're hearing from technologists. And one is that they've really seen an increase in workload since the pandemic hit. The other thing that we heard loud and clear from them is that the importance of being able to work remotely has been the number one thing that they're looking for in a job. So, you know, I think one way to use this data is really when you're thinking about how you're writing your job descriptions or how you're positioning your roles, or even, speaking to your clients about whether or not they would, let candidates work remotely, is something that's really important, especially to hiring the best talent that's out there. And we also now have added features to our job postings, whereas you can mark your jobs by remote work, and also try to find candidates through a search facet of interested in working remotely. So just something to think about. How do we use this data points and these trends to help you become more successful as recruiters and salespeople? Job security is still really important, and then how a company responds to the COVID-19 crisis rounds out the top three things that are most important to technologists. So this isn't a surprise. For years, technologists have wanted to work remotely, and then, for a lot of employers, they resisted remote work options until they were forced to do it with the pandemic. So, now we can see that this is actually working out quite nicely for the technologists, and they really do enjoy working from home. And so this is another graph that represents, these are the first 5 weeks of Q2. We ran surveys each week, and you can see that technologists really do enjoy working from home. It's working remotely, they don't see it as a detriment to their company culture at all. And really the benefits are probably no different than any of us. But benefits that they see from working remotely versus in an office: easier to work at home, more relaxed approach, and they're absolutely more productive. Um, which I could say the same for most of us, unless you have kids that are going to school remotely in your house. Some of the personal benefits that they see working remotely versus in the office is saving on commute, easier commutes, the ability to be more comfortable in their environment and control their environment and be more comfortable with their attire. Um, and then, I mean, there are some cons too, right? And so we asked them about that. And so there's a potential to have more distractions when you work at home. Um, Working more hours is one that we heard loud and clear. And we've done some studies and some thought leadership around the importance of understanding and trying to manage burnout, as these workloads continue to grow as technologists work from home. And then finally here, I think the best and most desirable um, work setting for technologists isn't 100% remote or 100% in the office, but they would like a blend where you could do part-time or flexible remote work, but also have the ability to go into the office as well. So why work with Dice? So real quick, we're a database you could trust. Like I said before, we've focused a ton of time and money and energy on the quality of our candidates, along with the fact that our candidates are unique to the other boards that you might work with. We also have the ability through our search and match to quickly pinpoint the right candidates. And now, because of the marketplace that we're building, we now have efficient workflows that will help you to even quicker reach out and directly contact candidates, either that you find through sourcing directly or that match your job openings and are replying to your jobs. And the other thing too to think about is that we have over 30 years of tech hiring data, and to help you understand and really focused on just the technology space. One of the things that comes up all the time, and I do think that it's always a challenge, but you know, if you only have a certain amount of money to spend on sourcing resources, how do you decide who to use? And we will never say that you should only use Dice, although we'd love it. But we do want to make sure that we acknowledge the fact that there are 20% of our candidates that are only on Dice based on research that we've done. And 65% of the candidates that are on Dice and maybe only one other site. So if you are not using Dice at all and you're using other sites or maybe just one other site, we really feel confident that you are not getting the full picture and missing out on potential candidates. Um, so how can you quickly get to this top tech talent, right? So we have algorithms, and our IntelliSearch is an amazing AI enabled capability for you to drop, and Sue will show you more in the demo, but to drop your actually job descriptions into our system, and then have us pull candidates out based on a matching algorithm to your job description. And so the AI is best in class, and some of the best that I've seen throughout my time spent in the industry. And then the automation and the ability now to instant message candidates directly inside of the marketplace. That coupled with the ability for recruiters now to create their own enhanced and richer profiles, which Sue's going to show you more about, is really making this a place where you can gain trust and enhance your engagement with candidates and do it directly through Dice. So the new profiles, we've seen an uptick of 90% in terms of engagement from candidates, whether it's responding to outreach or responding to your jobs. And now you'll have the ability to add a picture, add your company's logos, and really build a story around who you are as a recruiter. And then with our instant messaging, this gives you the ability to reach directly out to candidates inside of the platform um, immediately and build relationships. And it's unlimited in terms of the messaging that you can send out per month, unlike some of our competitors.
So I'm excited to be here and give the demo of DICE. Just want to make sure that I just move my camera over and have a good view of the DICE dashboard here. So you can see here, welcome Sue. I've logged in through dice.com as an employer, and I'm going to do an instant messaging scenario first through a keyword search. So I know a candidate on DICE who happens to be looking, and I'm just going to put in a name. I know I've talked to hundreds of staffing firms over the years between LinkedIn and now here at DICE, and they'll say, can you just search for a name? You can search for a name, you can search for a zip code. If you want to search for cell phone numbers, you can put in, like, say, 917. So let's go ahead and find this candidate. All right. So I am working from home, so it is going a little bit slower, but you can see here Sean Samiljan. We do have the same last name. He happens to be my husband, and he's on DICE. And you can see this little green um, icon here. That means he's active. So he's active on DICE, he's online. So what I'm going to do is open up his profile. And as a recruiter, if I had an IT manager position open at a hospital, looks to be a good fit, all I have to do is in the upper right-hand corner, message, and start typing my message. Hi, Sean. You look to be a good fit. Are you free to speak this afternoon? So just like that, he can see my profile, and I've sent the message, and if he is still listening to me, he will respond back. So let's give him a minute. Oh, let's see. All right, well, we'll just minimize this. I'm not going to block him, but this is a good opportunity to show, oh, there he is. All right. Sounds great, Sue. Look forward to speaking with you soon. So I have all his contact information. I have his cell phone number. If I scroll down, you can see here, let me just close this. I can go right to his resume and download the resume here into my database, or Ceipal, for instance. So very quick and easy to instant message your candidates. And it's about finding talent faster, and having that opportunity is amazing. You want to find them while they're hot. So one of my favorite and underutilized, I think, feature is creating search alerts. So when you save a search alert, you want to log on and see when they're last active. So a new Pega business architect has joined DICE. You're going to get them in your search alert, but you're also going to see when they're active as well. So DevOps, just want to show you here, Ted. You see the little green icon? It shows that he's live on the DICE platform as we speak. So I can instant message him as well. Okay, so right on the dashboard here, I'm going to go to the recruiter profile, which is really important. You want to build your brand before you engage with your candidates, which makes more transparency, and then have that connection before you recruit. So think brand, engage, recruit. So improve my brand. I'm going to click here, and you'll see my recruiter profile. And this is where, as John said, we're moving to a career marketplace. It's about engaging with talent that are active and passive. So I have my profile. They can also see that I'm live on DICE and can message me back. You can see the header here. This is really easy to put your company brand. You can change your cover photo, and you can upload your own company logo. I've stuck with we're hiring, or you can pick one of the defaults. So about you, having more about your company allows you to stand out from your competitors because you're sharing your differentiators and why you want to help. Why do they want to work with you over other recruiters? And then post status updates. So here we are, staffing friends, join us. So I had shared this because I thought it was relevant to today's session. And thank you all for joining. So this is the recruiter profile. And we've done a study recently. Candidates say they're 62% more likely to respond to a job posted on Dice when they can put a face to the name and have that brand recognition. So really important, just like it is to have branding. I'm just going to jump over to a company on your company page because it shows why work with you or why work with your firm and how you can represent them. So branding makes a big difference in putting your best foot forward, allows you to build a connection faster, engage with your talent, and then recruit. So let's get on to recruiting. We did a keyword search. Now I'm going to go to IntelliSearch. This is our AI. We can put a job description in, find talent faster, or you can even put in a target candidate and find other candidates who are like, who you're looking to replicate. So go to IntelliSearch, and I have a job that I received from a prospect who is now a customer. So we did this search. So if anyone hasn't seen the IntelliSearch, please feel free to reach out to the DICE team and we can customize this search to your open requirements and show you live exactly what talent we have on DICE. I believe this was San Diego. So we've also added Boolean or keywords so we can hone in on required skills. We're going to start out broad and then we're going to narrow it down. So here you can see by default, it's I put in 50 miles from San Diego. We're excluding social only profiles, which I'm going to get back to because that's a game changer for all of you. John had mentioned it's been he said bouncy year. So while we're focusing on finding talent, I can even show you a quick way to find clients who doesn't need more business or at least a pipeline of new clients to prospect into with your candidates and last active in 90 days. So we have 129 candidates and you can see it's sorted by most relevant. I'm going to scroll up and show you some, not every single filter, but here we want to look for candidates most likely to switch. Time is money, and you want to hone in on the ones who are most likely to switch. Take your call, vet them out, and present them to your clients. So here we are, most likely to switch. You can put total years of experience. You can see here companies. So out of these 73 candidates, you can see here, these are the companies where they work at. So perhaps one of these are your clients. And of course you can't, you don't have that position. Perhaps you know now that they have somebody working for them who's active 2 weeks ago on DICE. So you can get a backfill and know before the competition does. Also, employment type. So if you're only recruiting contract, then narrow it down to contract. If it's full-time, or you can select multiple. Work permits, if you know you can't sponsor, you can put in US citizen, compensation, security clearance. So if anyone requires security clearance, you can also select security clearance. This is what I really like, willing to relocate, because here we have 73 candidates, and we want to see willing to relocate. In these challenging times, people are relocating all over the world. You can work anywhere and include the candidates who have already come up in the search, apply filters, and you can see we have an additional more than 10 who you would never have found. So this software engineer is looking to relocate to San Diego. He would not have come up within our 50-mile radius search. Okay, so here, maybe we want to narrow this down a little bit more, and I know Spring Boot is a required, well, that wouldn't work. And we want to open it up. We want to see everybody, because then you're looking at passive candidates, people who have been on DICE years ago. I used DICE years ago as well, and it was our #1 source of hire. So excited to be able to share this with you. So we have 22 here with Spring Boot listed on their profile. Okay, so that's the IntelliSearch. We can go back to, actually, John had showed something, managed jobs, and this is new as well. So I've been with DICE now almost 10 months, and I have seen over a handful of enhancements to the system during a time of a pandemic. So our product development is not stopping. I mean, we're investing in state-of-the-art fraud detection, as well as evolving into the career marketplace so that you have your passive talent, have the ability to instant message. And here you'll see talent search. So here's a job, engineer position in New York. And as soon as you post it, you can see here a link to see who already matches that job. So best practices, I always say post your job first, put it out for your inbound recruiting strategy, and then come right here and start proactively going into your outbound strategy. So there's quite a lot of candidates already in the DICE database active within the last 90 days who you can reach out to. So if you see a profile that doesn't look to be real, or after the state-of-the-art fraud detection initiative, it doesn't come up often, but I've talked to former customers who have said that was a challenge. So DICE listened and did a whole cleanup of the database, so you can then report them. All right, so we've done a search for talent through IntelliSearch, which makes it faster and easier, especially if you have junior recruiters and you just want to have them learn recruiting, the terminology. You can have them use the IntelliSearch. Something else that is very helpful that I find is using our skills. And this here, scrolling down, Skill Center. So I do searches all day long, and there sometimes terminology that I'm just not familiar with. So I can look it up here, do a search, and you can see all the related skills. So this heat map here shows you Bootstrap, HTML, HTML5, Angular. All of these skills and these similar skills is a part of the proprietary algorithm that we use in the IntelliSearch, so that we're finding talent that matches your job description, but you may have missed in the job requirement, or maybe you had a too granular of a Boolean search. So this is bringing you candidates that you may have missed because of the Boolean search or job description. And then here, of course, if your candidate and your tech stack are these Angular developers, you can see related jobs and look at this as, you know what, I have a candidate who matches this job, and reach out to Focus Capital Markets and submit your client. So that's one way to do business development. And then the other way And this is actually my favorite. All right, hang on, bear with me. Okay, here we go. So let's do a search. Who is your ideal hiring manager, your client profile? It could be a VP of talent acquisition, it could be IT director. So I'm going to put in, let's just do Chief Information Officer. All right. And I'm recruiting in the New York area. I think I hit enter before I actually put in 10018. Okay, you're probably saying, okay, these 506 chief information officers here are actively looking for a job. So why would I present candidates when they're not even in a position that they'll be in a week? That's not who we're looking for. We're looking for including social profiles only. So I'm going to X this out. And on the left-hand side, I'm going to show you social profile. And we want to look at LinkedIn and apply filters. So these are people who are not active DICE candidates, but talent that we've aggregated on DICE for you to use for passive recruiting or for business development. So you can see Tony here, LinkedIn profile, there's no DICE. He's never been a DICE active candidate. But when we look at Tony, we can see email, his personal, another email, and his phone number. So one of the biggest differentiators here on DICE is that you're getting contact information on social profiles. So that's something that has been a game changer for several of my new customers, and I thought I wanted to share it with all of you.